Welcome to the Grand Connection podcast. This is an exciting episode because we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics in both life and business, clarity. Plus, we have some speakers sharing their talks from our last virtual Grand Mixer, and you'll get a bit of a taste of what they're like if you haven't been to one yet. In episode 7, we talked about trust and why trust is not a single skill or moment. It flows through all three parts of connect, create, and collaborate. We explored how trust is built through consistency, clarity, and follow through, and how trust grows when people feel safe, seen, and clear, there's the word clear, about what to expect. Today, I want to build on that conversation because clarity is one of the fastest ways trust is created, sustained, and even repaired. Today, we're going to talk about clarity and why it's one of the most underrated influencers of connection, confidence, and collaboration. Most people think they lack motivation, but what they actually lack is clarity. And clarity is not just a mindset. It's a nervous system state. And I'm sure we're going to get Ree to talk a little bit more about that later on. But when things are unclear, we feel scattered and hesitant. When things are clear, we calm down, focus, and move forward. This is why clarity sits at the heart of connect, create, and collaborate. Now, I want to look a little bit around how this works within the CCC framework. So starting with connection requires clarity of values, intention, and purpose. When clarity is missing, connection feels drained or forced. Without clarity, connection sounds like, "Oh, I'm open to meeting anyone." How do you help them with that? It's too broad, right? With clarity, it sounds like, "I'm looking to connect with other coaches who work with the same type of clients." So you would describe your ideal client and are interested in, and then describe the things you actually want to do, such as co-hosting workshops, referring clients, or building something together. Be specific. Creation requires clarity of message, role, and direction. Without it, conversations stay vague and opportunities stall. Without clarity, creation sounds like, "I do a bit of everything." With clarity, it sounds like, "I help people simplify their message so the right clients recognize themselves and say yes." Collaboration requires clarity of expectations, timing, and next steps. This is where trust and momentum are built. Without clarity, collaboration sounds like, "Let's stay in touch." With clarity, it could sound like, "Let's co-host a session next month and see how our audience respond together." Clarity is what allows connect, create, collaborate to actually work. So now I want to move on to when clarity requires stepping back. Before you get clear in your message or your ask, sometimes you need to get clear in yourself. And sometimes stepping back means really stepping back and looking inwards. Clarity may ask you to step back and ask, what am I genuinely good at? What comes naturally to me? What do I love doing even when no one is watching? What energizes me instead of draining me? What problems do I feel drawn to solving? Sometimes in our breakout rooms, we have an activity where we ask each other, what's our superpower? When your work matches what you are good at and what you genuinely enjoy, clarity stops feeling forced and starts feeling natural. There's a concept from Japan that explains this really well. It's called Ikigai, spelled Ikigai. Look it up online. There's some great infographics where you've got 4 circles and the quadrant in the middle is Ikigai, a reason for being. In simple terms, it's the overlap between 4 things: what you love doing, what you are good at, what people actually need help with, and what you can be supported or paid for. When those things come together, work feels aligned, decisions feel easier, and your message becomes clear without you trying so hard to figure it out. Now here's the contrast. If things feel heavy, confusing, or forced, that's usually a signal. Not that something is wrong with you, but that something in the work may no longer be aligned. This is often where people realize they have outgrown a role, or perhaps their offer or the product isn't what they want to be doing anymore. Or the direction that once made sense no longer fits. Maybe it's your strategy. And that realization is not a failure. It's information. Clarity gives you permission to step back, reassess, and realign. For others, it means simplifying an offer that has become too complicated or too broad. Sometimes it means adjusting your pricing so it matches the value and the energy you're bringing. It can also mean narrowing your audience so that you're speaking to the people you most want to serve instead of trying to speak to everyone. And sometimes it means focusing on what's already working before adding in more things. Realignment does not always mean starting over. Often it means simplifying, doing less, and moving forward with more intention. Stepping back does not only mean looking inward. It can also mean looking at your business with fresh eyes. Sometimes clarity comes from reviewing your marketing, your brand, your message, your product or service offering, your pricing. Sometimes it helps to talk things through with others, a trusted peer, an expert, or some people in your community that you trust to give you honest feedback. This is exactly what I do with my clients. We slow things down and look at how all the pieces fit together. Sometimes clarity comes with research. There's a lot of great AI tools available now that it can help you analyze your industry, provide market research, and help you position yourself. We have a great AI group hosted by our community members who keep us up to date. So that's another thing you can check out with your free guest pass. Maybe your marketing funnel is off. Maybe your sales funnel needs some changes. Maybe the offer's right, but the message isn't landing. Or your lead magnet isn't leading people to the problem you solve. Business is an ecosystem, and when one piece is unclear, it can affect everything else. And I want to share a small example. I almost always choose the window seat when I fly. That window seat is my time to pack a notebook, I unplug, and I look at the 30,000-foot view. From up there, everything looks different. The details fade, small things become less important, and the bigger picture starts to come into focus. That is often where my best clarity comes from. Not when I'm deep in emails or to-do lists, but when I give myself space to see the whole landscape. We can do the same thing without getting on a plane. Sometimes clarity comes from taking a mindful minute. If you listen to episode 5, you'll remember this practice. That simple pause that helps us slow down, reset the nervous system, and come back to what really matters. And here's why that matters. When we slow down enough to get clear internally, we start showing up differently externally. Our conversations change. Our listening deepens. Our collaboration becomes more intentional. Clarity is not something we arrive at alone. It's something that gets refined in conversation, reflection, and community. That is what makes spaces like the Grand Connection so powerful. They are designed to turn insight into shared understanding and momentum. And that brings me to a recent Grand Connection mixer. 3 speakers, 3 perspectives, all coming back to one simple theme, clarity. As I listened back, I caught myself thinking about how fun that event was, and maybe you were there. If not, good news, you can join us at our next one. But first, let me set the context for what you are about to hear. The first kind of clarity we explored was clarity of structure and direction. Because even with purpose and passion, businesses stall without systems and focus. This perspective is about moving from overwhelm into leverage. Here's a moment from that conversation hosted by Steve Brossman and myself with our guest speaker, Steve Gaston.
I've been in and around Steve for a while now and seen some of the stuff that he's doing. He's building an enormous community over in Glasgow. It's the haggis lovers community. That we were chatting beforehand. I said, somehow I'm going to weave haggis into your introduction. So I've done that now. We can get a little bit serious, but it is my pleasure to introduce Steve because he's a multi-award-winning Scottish entrepreneur. He's a keynote speaker, but more importantly, he's a visionary. He works with people, and he's called the catalyst of success. He works with people to take their ideas and turn it into a saleable and a scalable business. He's got a massive reputation for doing that. He's got a major network that he helps people leverage. But more importantly, he's going to talk about 4 key things in the 5 minutes that he's got that you could actually use to leverage and grow right now. We've hit 2026. And he's got these 4 key areas that you can work on that's really going to set the foundation and really accelerate your business. So from one Steve to another, I'm passing the baton over, mate, and it's all yours.
Thanks very much, Steve. Yeah, the people that know me very, very well, they know that I like to keep things simple. I like to keep things as simple as possible because I work with business owners and entrepreneurs every single day. People with big ideas, strong ambitions, but one shared frustration. They're busy, they're capable, but they're overwhelmed. And they didn't start a business to feel trapped by it, yet that's exactly where many of them end up. And today I want to share a simple truth. Modern business success is no longer about doing more. It's about thinking better, connecting smarter, and building systems that work for you. Now, the first part I want to talk about is called the mindset shift. Everything in business starts with mindset, not motivation, not hustle, mindset. And most business owners are working in their business instead of on it. They're stuck in operator mode, firefighting, reacting, chasing. And here's the key idea. Momentum beats motivation every time. When you focus on clarity, not chaos, progress becomes inevitable. Part 2, connection and collaboration. The fastest way to grow any business has never changed. Since business started way back thousands and thousands of years ago, it's always been about relationships. But networking has also evolved. It's no longer about collecting contacts, it's about building collaborative capital. I've seen this repeatedly. When business owners stop competing in isolation and start collaborating intentionally, growth accelerates. And here's the distinction. Networking fills your calendar. Hands up if you agree, yeah? Net growing fills your pipeline, and that's where the money starts to come in. Because when trust is present, opportunity follows. And the most powerful partnerships usually start with one simple question. How can we, not I, how can we help each other grow? Part 3, learning at the speed of change. We're living in a world where the rules of business change faster than ever, and the advantage no longer goes to the biggest or the loudest. It goes to the most adaptable. And that's why ongoing learning, continuous ongoing learning, isn't optional anymore. It's a survival skill. And here's the line I live by. You don't rise to the level of your ambition, you rise to the level of your systems and skills. Part 4, systems, software, and freedom. Now let's talk about the real reason many businesses stall. It's not lack of effort, it's lack of systems. Too many business owners are juggling. Multiple tools, multiple logins, multiple platforms, zero clarity. The right systems don't replace you, they free you. When automation handles the repeatable, predictable work, you get your time back. And time is the one resource you can't scale without intention. Time saved is energy gained. And that energy should be invested in growth, not admin. So, here's the playbook. Master your mindset. Build real connections. Collaborate instead of competing. Keep learning. And let systems do the heavy lifting. Because modern business success isn't about grinding harder. It's about building a business that supports your life, not consumes it. I'm Steve Gaston, and remember this, growth is better and faster when you're not doing it alone. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks, Steve. Clear, concise, but very powerful. The takeaway that I got there, and if it's okay with you, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it next week. Don't rise to the level of your ambition. You rise to the level of your skills and systems. Oh my God, that's a mic drop. How many people here have heard people say, I want to get to here. I've got an ambition to get to here, but they're never going to get there because of the level of their skills and their systems. And in today's world, that is just so powerful.
Every time I listen to Steve Guesto, I learn something new. I love the line, "You do not rise to the level of your ambition. You rise to the level of your systems and skills." This is clarity at a structural level, knowing what matters, where to focus, and what to stop carrying alone. Systems are powerful for your business success and to scale. And yes, this was just one short segment, I know, but don't you wish you were there? Our next session weaves in clarity of communication and influence. Now, even with strong systems, clarity breaks down if your message does not land. In a noisy, AI-driven world, influence is no longer about volume. It is about resonance. That brings us to clarity of communication.
We've got Michelle Lee coming up next, and she's an award-winning certified bank coach. And if you don't know what bank is and you don't know anything about it, make sure you connect with Michelle Lee and she will be able to run you through it. It is super powerful. She's a keynote speaker. She's a networking ninja, and she's actually used the bank principles to take her business from 0 to over 2 million in just 3 years. And the bank solves a lot of issues. It helps you gain clarity on who you are, how you talk to people, and how you can actually grow your business. But her topic today is the science of authentic influence. And that is something that is being lost in the AI world. But the beautiful thing about what Michelle Lee is going to share with you today is how to really leverage AI. And she shared some stuff that she's got coming out that is really exciting about a new AI that's got empathy and be able to connect with people. So I'm going to shut up now because I want to give her as much time as possible. Unleashing the power within, the science of authentic influence. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Steve. Oh, I am so excited to be here. And Steve did a great introduction, so I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to dive right in. So I want to ask you, how many of you want to be more influential? How do you get people to buy into you, your ideas, to be that influencer? The key is communication. How you're saying your message. Have you ever met that person that could influence anyone to buy anything? Sell ice to an Eskimo. Well, we have ChatGPT and all these AIs out there, right, that are giving people this voice and giving them this message, but who is it speaking to? You have to understand that there's different people in the world. Does anyone speak a different language? Anybody on here? Susan, what language do you speak?
Well, I'm half a language. I speak French and a quarter of Spanish.
Okay, beautiful. So if I came out here and did my entire presentation in French, would I influence any of you to do anything? Would you understand anything that I'm saying? Yet every day we go out and we speak our own language, assuming that everyone is wired just like us, and they aren't. So if you want to learn how to influence people, you need to know how to speak the language of the people. When you look at AI, it's putting a message out there, but it might not be attracting your correct audience. And there's a disconnect. So when they do come to you, you can't influence them to do anything because you're not speaking their language. You're speaking French. Your messages you put on social media, who's it speaking to? What if you were able to decode that and actually communicate in a way that connected and empowered you instead of disconnected? The world is so disconnected with all of the artificial intelligence out there. What if you had an AI that was able to communicate to people? So I'm going to unlock the secret of influence. Oh, I see you, Ray. You're like, yeah, do that. Because you have those people who can do that. They influence everyone, but they never tell you what the secret is. The secret is the master of communication. Steve Gaston did a fantastic presentation. He talked about relationships and he talked about trust. What makes people trust you? Have you ever met that person that in minutes you automatically connected to and you were like, this is my person, we're going to hang out forever. But yet you meet someone else and it's a total disconnect. You're like, nah, not feeling it. Guess what? Their values didn't align with you. Every single one of us has a code, and I'm going to give you the key today to unlock it. So I'm going to talk about 4 different personalities. It's called BANK, the blueprint. Blueprints are very structured. They need a system. They need planning. They need processes. They need a step-by-step way to do things. They avoid risk at all costs, and they worry about budgets. Your actions are the movers, the shakers, the millionaire makers that might run you over. They want fun and freedom and flexibility and spontaneity and action. You're nurturing. Well, they're all about connection, relationships, teamwork, authenticity, personal growth. And your knowledge, well, they value intelligence, self-mastery, logic. They want all of the information. They're the longest sales process because it takes them forever to close. Everybody's made up of all 4. The key is that you need to understand who's in front of you so you can speak their language so that you can influence them to buy into you. When your values align, that's when you get the connection. If they don't, you won't. So the key is that you need to understand who your audience is and speak their language. It's that simple. And I provide the tools, the training, and the system to do it. When you look at AI, again, you need to know who you're talking to. And when you can master the skills of people and communication, you can influence anyone. It's a million times more important why people buy than it is on how to sell them. And with that, we're going to go into breakout rooms.
I just love Michelle Lee's energy. Influence is not about convincing. It's about understanding. When you speak the language of the person in front of you, trust grows naturally. When values align, collaboration becomes easier. This was one of those moments where the chat was lighting up and people were nodding along. You can feel it when clarity lands. Next, we come to clarity of identity and self-trust. Beneath systems and communication is the deepest layer of clarity, the clarity of identity, the clarity that allows you to stop hiding and start being found. I can't wait for you to meet Yvonne.
Probably one of the loveliest ladies that I actually get to work and collaborate with. And I don't say that lightly because I get to work with a lot of fantastic people. Yvonne McCoy, she's a women's business strategist. She actually helps people find the who they are, what's unique about them, and how to communicate. Her Found framework just gets in and simplifies everything. And what she's going to work with you today is the Be Found, accelerate your success from the power within that you've been hiding. All of you have stuff inside that needs to be brought out so other people can see it in a way for them to say, oh my God, I've got to work with you. In the next 5 minutes, Yvonne's going to give you a simple framework, very powerful framework on how you can do it, because there's no sense hiding your magic inside. And Yvonne's going to help you get it out and share it with the people. Yvonne, my pleasure to hand the stage over to you.
Steve, I couldn't have asked for a better introduction, and I am really excited to be here today with everybody. And I hope I will be able to delight you just like Steve did with telling you that you can only rise to the level of your systems. And Michelle Lee talked about having the authentic language that has people trust you. So what I want to say to you is when you have clarity, you stop second guessing yourself. So let me ask you a question. Do you remember the first time that you did something you were really proud of, something that was creative, it was instinctive, it was, you were completely in the flow and you felt like you? And then some authority figure, a teacher, a boss, a parent said, don't do that again, or that's not the way we do it. You didn't stop being capable in that moment, but you did start to hide parts of yourself. You started to believe in society's limiting beliefs. And that was the beginning of a very quiet shift from trusting your instincts to always going to what's wrong with me. And we carry that with us all the time. I did everything. I worked hard, blah, blah, blah. It didn't work. What's wrong with me? Right? And so, one of the things about entrepreneurs is we tend to be, like I said, curious. We want to find things out. We want to look into things. So I think that's why people say we have that squirrel mentality. But one of the things that happened with that, what's wrong with me, is we lose our clarity and we lose our appreciation about what makes us different. And that's what really matters. That's what matters. That's what your clients are looking for. They're looking for the expert for their problem and not just an expert. And I work with many very capable business owners, and I see them struggle with the same things over and over again: clarity, consistency, and confidence. And it's not because they're good, but it's because they're trying to grow without fully understanding or truly trusting themselves. And this is what I've seen in myself and my clients. Like I said, you're doing good things, you're working hard, you're following strategies that you think should work, but you're not seeing the results that you want. And so you're trying to work harder, push harder, and your energy is scattered. But here's the thing. Even though we are creative and we are idea-driven, sometimes we're applying the wrong ideas in the wrong stage of our business, and they're wrong for us. And this creates confusion for you and your clients. So let me give you a scenario and see if this makes any sense for you. I want to show you how this confuses the clients that are already looking for you. That's right. Your clients are already looking for you. Imagine you have a small shop, and on Monday you set it up on one corner, you offer one thing. Somebody walks by and says, "That's interesting, I'll come back." And on Tuesday you move your shop to a different corner and sell something else. And on Wednesday you do the same thing. The person who wanted to buy on Monday can't find you anymore. And that's what scattered focus looks like. If you are spending all your time inventing new programs and, doing all these different things, you're sending different messages all the time, and the person that's looking for you can't find you. But when people recognize you, when you go deeper into what you do, evolve deeper, here's what shift happens. Because clarity isn't about starting over. It's about seeing what's already there, and it evolves deeper as you go. And when that happens, you start to understand why your right clients say yes, why they buy from you, sometimes before you even know it. You recognize where your energy is being scattered, even when you're doing the right things. And you can identify the unique power that you've had all along, but haven't been able to highlight or leverage. And last of all, when you have clarity, you're for the right stage of your business, you won't stop talking about it. I mean, confidence is going to be out the roof. And it's not a question of what I can talk about or what I can tell you about. So it's not about being louder. It's not about being everywhere. It's about being where you're aligned. And clients don't buy when you convince them. They buy when they recognize themselves in you and in your message. When that recognition happens, consistency becomes easier, confidence becomes quieter but stronger. And that's what happens with the Be Found Foundation. It starts with be yourself, because that's where your power is. And you don't need to become somebody new. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to be found. And I hope I can delight you today the way Steve and Michelle Lee did. And if I did, even just a little bit, I want you to connect with me, and I'm going to put my information in the chat. I absolutely think you need to connect with the Grand Connection. It's a wonderful place to find people who have the same kinds of things that you're interested in. I do a monthly workshop. Please come next week, and I dive deeper into the Be Found framework. And I also have a gift, and I will put that in the chat.
As I was listening to that, it's a bit okay to share an insight of putting what you said together with what Michelle Lee said is a saying that I use a lot all the time. And a lot of people are running around trying to be the biggest and the best. You don't have to be the best in the world. You just have to be the best in their world. Now, by reaching in and doing what Yvonne's telling you to find your inner magic and strengths, and then being able to find the right people and communicate the right way to the right people with what Michelle Lee's doing, when you put those two together, honestly, you'll become unstoppable. I don't know about you, Susan, but these three have to be collectively the most integrated, most powerful speakers and gifts that we've had in a very, very long time.
This talk landed deeply. We do not lose our capability. We lose permission to trust it. Clarity is not about becoming someone new. It is about being seen for who you already are. At this point in the mixer, people were sharing insights in the chat and in the breakout rooms about what finally clicked for them. It was an amazing discussion. And do reach out to our speakers. Their contact info is in the show notes. Before we close, I want to share a few voices from our community. Because clarity does not just come from frameworks or ideas. It often comes from being in the right environment with the right people. At this point in the mixer, several members shared what they value most about being part of the Grand Connection and how the community has supported their growth. What stood out for me was not just what they've accomplished, but how clarity showed up for them. Clarity about who they are, clarity about where they are going, and clarity about not having to do it alone. I want to briefly introduce each of them to you before you listen to them. Deborah Myers is a certified acupressurist. Her business, Deborah Myers Wellness, is a holistic wellness practice that helps people reduce stress, relieve pain, and restore balance naturally through energy balancing techniques they can learn to do themselves.
Thank you for the opportunity to say hey to all of you. I've been a member for, Susan, I think 5 years. Yeah. And from the get-go, it's been one of those opportunities to be present, to be seen, to be heard, and to be available. Not just available in the sense of speaking my word, but being available to myself. Susan and this group, and when Carolyn was there, was just phenomenal at helping me shift from where I was to where I am now and where I'm still going. Without you, I would not be, I admit to this, I would not be in the midst of doing a summit, Wellness from the Inside Out for Home and School Life with 22 expert speakers, some who came via Grand Connection. So I'm honored that I still get to be a part of Grand Connection. Thank you so much for all you do.
Christine Von Pender of I Have People for That. She's a business concierge that connects organizations with trusted, vetted professionals to help them work smarter and save time on hiring or sourcing expertise.
So for me, it's the safety of working inside the group and the group alignment. The group is completely in alignment with my values as well. So I don't have to force myself to do things that in this group at all, because it's all in alignment with how I am and who I am. So I really appreciate having this space available. Thank you, Susan.
Michelle Lee is an award-winning certified bank coach and licensed trainer, keynote speaker, and networking ninja.
I have been part of Grand Connections for years. I can't tell you when I joined, but what Grand Connections is a community of amazing people. You have the opportunity to be a speaker. You have the opportunity to meet new connections. Susan has a whole system here and a process that works to help you grow your business. And the knowledge that Steve and Susan bring to all of you is worth a fortune. And they're adding value to you every day. This is an amazing community, and I'm grateful to be part of it. Thank you both.
Ray McCauley is a neuroscience coach focusing on the latest in brain network switching and also the trainer of our self-mastery program.
I wanted to say that all of our speakers today, because I filter everything through neuroscience, are highly congruent with the latest neuroscience. Beautifully done, everyone. One of the deepest things in connecting with people neurologically is shared values. And the thing I love about Grand Connections, and it's about me, is that I have so many shared values with the mission of Grand Connections, which is to connect people, to create, to collaborate. It's not about pitching and sales primarily. It leads to that eventually, but it is about bringing people together. And since I've gotten to know Susan more, I can validate how much she cares and the way she curates the group and protects us and supports, once again, that value of connecting.
And Andrew Darlow is a photographer, writer, product developer, public speaker, and an inventor. He's always reminding the community on how to back up their important data.
Well, I think I've been a member just over 2 years. This is my first group that I joined, and I didn't realize networking was such a thing until I joined the Grand Connections. And it has led to me probably connected with over 5,000 people, both members and then other members, people at mixers. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. And like you mentioned, Steve, you have that Zoom special, which means that I don't have to worry if somehow I hit the lottery and 350 people want to come into actually 300 people, I think is the number, can come into my Zoom room, which if you looked at the real price of that, probably the whole year of Grand Connection. So I could go on, but I have so many wonderful people, Susan and Carolyn from years, a couple years back, and you, Steve, and everyone to thank for putting together such a wonderful organization.
Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank you all for being part of this conversation. Thank you to our speakers for sharing your insights, wisdom, and lived experiences so generously. And a special thank you to Steve Brossman, our incredible MC, for holding the space so beautifully. And to our members, thank you for sharing and for supporting each other so openly. It is the members of our community who make the Grand Connection truly grand. Your generosity, curiosity, and willingness to collaborate are what turn these conversations into something meaningful and lasting. I hope these shares have given you more clarity, not only about your own path, but about what the Grand Connection is really about. This is the power of collaboration in action and a community to support you. If you're craving more clarity in how you show up, who you connect with, and how you grow, you're welcome here. Like this mixer you heard in this episode, the Grand Connection is a place to practice clarity through real conversations, shared learning, and meaningful collaboration. Clarity is not a one-time insight. It is a practice. And when clarity is practiced consistently, momentum follows. If you'd like to experience this for yourself, grab a guest pass and join us at an upcoming mixer. You can also explore the Grand Growth Bundle, which gives you access to tools, resources, and conversations designed to support your growth. Go to grandconnection.ca/gifts. You will find the links to our speakers and gifts in the show notes as well. Come join us. We'd love to have you. Clarity grows in community. Thank you for joining us on the Grand Connection podcast. If this episode sparked something for you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend looking for a community to support their growth. Before we sign off, today is a grand day to reach out to someone in your own network and reconnect. You never know where one conversation can lead.